So right now we're going to do a quick lesson on reciprocal reflexive verbs. Okay, normally, let's just start first. What is a reflexive verb? What is a reflexive verb?
Something you do to yourself.
Okay, so for a reflexive verb, okay, these are the actions that we do to oneself, right? Actions done to one's self. Okay, one's own self. Actions that are done to one's own self. Today, we are looking at reciprocal actions. Reciprocal actions. Okay. What does reciprocal mean? What does the word reciprocal mean?
Doing it back to someone else.
Doing it back to someone else. Have you guys ever heard of the expression to reciprocate the favor? Mm-hmm. Somebody does something for you. Maybe you mow the lawn and you try to pay them $20 and they say, oh, no, just, you can reciprocate the favor sometime. You can return the favor. So sometime when I'm gone for a week, you could mow my lawn, right? We're going to do these things to each other. To reciprocate an action is to do it to each other, right? So we have some reciprocal verbs in Spanish where in this case, these are actions that people do to each other. Okay? Let's think about our conjugation then. What do you know about reciprocal actions? Based on this rule right here, these are actions that people do to each other. What do you know about the conjugations of all of these reciprocal verbs? It has to be plural. So you don't even have to worry about any of your singular forms. Whoop, whoop. On this section, you don't have to worry about any of your singular forms. Reciprocal verbs, okay, reciprocal actions, reciprocal verbs will always be plural, right? They'll always be plural. Okay? So let's see what our book has to say. You have learned that reflexive verbs indicate the subject of a sentence. You have learned that reflexive verbs indicate that the subject of a verb does the action to itself. Did we get that? Yes, we did. Okay. Reciprocal reflexives, on the other hand, express a shared or reciprocal action between two or more people or things. So that's another way to say it. A reciprocal action, and I'm going to erase that. A reciprocal action is an action that is shared between two people. Okay. And it's shared between either two people or two things. Or two things. Okay? In this context, the pronoun means to each other or to one another. Okay? So in this case, your say, or whatever your reflexive pronoun is going to be. So what are the plural reflexive pronouns? Nos, os, and say are the only three reciprocal pronouns that you can use for these, right? Okay, so you'll have nos plus your verb, os plus your verb, or say plus your verb. And these right here, okay, are the only forms that you can use. All three of these are your reciprocal pronouns. These are the only reciprocal pronouns that you're going to use. And what does it say that they mean in English? What does the book say that they mean?
To each other or to one another.
Okay, they mean to each other or to one another. So we have so many says that it's really easy to get these confused, okay? So I just want to very, very quickly review, okay? Say, all of, we'll make ourselves a little web here. And if you want to do this at the bottom of your notes so that it doesn't interfere with your notes, you could do that. The very bottom of your notes, let's put a say, okay? What is one reason that we use say? What's what?
Impersonal.
Impersonal say. Impersonal say. And let's do a bubble off of that. When, what does that mean? What is the impersonal say? What is your remember so that you know what the impersonal say is?
When something is sold someplace, like say, venden, llaves.
Okay, so for the impersonal say, I always think of the pictures that I showed you guys, where you guys had to write signs for that picture. Remember when you had to write a sign? One would buy shoes in the shoe store. One would buy fruit in the fruit store. Okay? This is the one would. Right? Or you can think of the travel pictures. Okay? We don't know who's doing the action. Okay? Then we have our reflexive. And what does the reflexive say mean? If you guys will all give me about 2 extra minutes, we can finish this whole lesson after the bell. Reflexive verbs, what do these ones mean? What does that say mean for reflexives? We just went over this. You can do this. You guys can do this. What's a reflexive say?
Happens to oneself.
You're doing it to oneself. Doing action to one's self. This is actually going to be a good review for the final. That's why I'm going over this right now, just so that you hear it one more time. Okay? Then we had our unplanned events. Right? For accidents or unplanned events. Okay? And that was, if I were you, I would definitely write that formula. Remember, that was the say plus an IOP plus your verb. Okay? Unplanned events. And your verb for this one was usually in the preterite. This one, what's your formula for the impersonal say? Say plus a verb in the presente. Right? Presente, and it had to be third person. Is this helping to distinguish these out really quickly, to remember, to review these? Is this a good use of time? Okay. So, these are the says that you've seen so far. Okay? And now we're looking at nos, os, and say, okay, that are talking about actions that people do to each other. Okay? Very important that you understand the difference between those, okay? All right, let's keep going and see what the book says. It says, only the plural forms of the reflexive pronouns nos, os, and say are used to express reciprocal actions because the action must involve more than one person or thing. I think we kind of have that on the board. Don't you think we've covered that? Okay, the action must involve more than one person or thing. Good. Let's talk about some verbs that are commonly used with these reciprocal actions, okay? So, verbos. What are some reciprocal actions that you can think of? Actions? Huh?
Marry.
They marry each other. Okay, they marry each other.
Talk.
Okay, it could be that they talk to each other. Yeah. What about to chat with each other? Right? Charlar. Charlar. It could be they chat with each other. Okay. How about to hug each other? You hug each other.
Abrazar.
Abrazar. You might want to definitely define these. I would highly suggest it. Abrazar is they hug each other. To hug. They hug each other. What about to kiss?
Besar.
Can't kiss yourself.
Besar.
Uh-huh. Besar. To kiss. You kiss each other. How about to text? I don't think you guys have learned this one. Text. Close. Textear. It's really, really close. Textear is to text. How about to write to each other? You write to each other. Escribir. Yeah. But what are all of these going to have on the end? Say. Charlar, say. Abrazar, say. Besar, say. I actually should have really written that on there. Textear, say. Escribir, say.
So
Okay.
is it like linked directly after, or?
It's going to be put before the conjugated verb,
Oh.
just like all of your other reflexives. One more. To call each other. How about to call each other? Llamar. Actually, I lied. There's two on the test. Llamar, say, is to call each other. To call each other. You guys are really awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. Luchar. Miss Sheldon likes to use this one. Luchar, say. Luchar, say, is to wrestle each other, to fight each other. Okay, a luchador, you know the word luchador is a fighter, right? Or a wrestler. Okay? Lucharse is to wrestle each other. Muy bien. No. Adios!